Becoming the Weatherman. How to create a kick-ass video and presentation setup for professional online facilitation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jan Schmiedgen. I'm part of the DTX group, but now of course also of the ILN, and I'm really happy to get to know you all. And this presentation and this little session that we will have and also discussion later on is all about how to create a kick-ass video setup for yourself as a presenter so that you can keep your audience engaged. And I really hope, that's my goal with this session, that I can save you 1 month of lifetime in case you really are serious about these facilitation setups, and you might need them as well, that I have invested, and I had quite a lot of fun in it, so I don't regret anything, to figure out how that actually works. And I want to spare you the same trial and error journey that I had. But yesterday, as I was very excited to talk to everyone again, I forgot to introduce myself and who am I actually. So this day I will not forget that, because I know that especially the ILN people don't know me. Most of the DTX people know me. Just very quickly, I joined the DTX group when I was part of a research program at the Hasso-Plattner Institute in Potsdam, and I was part of a group that researched design thinking, adoption and adaptation. And I also curate a website which is called thisisdesignthinking.net. It's basically a website on design thinking case studies. And in my other role, I'm a partner at a Berlin-based consulting boutique, an innovation consulting boutique. We are called Codify. And we help organizations to innovate innovation management and to set up the right organizational structures to make methodologies like design thinking or lean startup really thrive. That shall be it from my side. What I'm interested in is why you have joined this session. Because before we start, I would really like to get a little bit of an impression on why you came to this session and what interests you about becoming the Weatherman and creating such a presentation setup. And this is why I prepared a little poll. You can either use the QR code and scan it with your mobile phone and answer the poll, or you could alternatively, and Elias, please copy that into the chat again. Elias is my sidekick here today. Please, you can also click the link in the chat and then answer the questions. And I will bring up the poll and the results now in a second. I give you a little bit more time to scan the code and to answer, to see the results. Now I'm really curious. Okay, I think that should be enough time for scanning the QR code. All the others just click the link. And I'm flying a little bit blind here, so I cannot have the chat inside all the time. But I see polls are coming in, so it worked out very well. Great. So, and while you are answering, I'm preparing to bring up the polls so that we all can see them. Oh, just 1 sec, that was not right. I see they are still coming in. Take your time, I'm also not that fast. Okay. So let's see, what do we have here? The first question that I asked you was, did you already level up, or maybe plan to do so, your presenter workspace and tech setup that you have maybe at home or in your office to really deliver better online learning experiences? Because I know many of us have to do. And we can see that there's roughly half of the people who said, no, I haven't done so yet. So probably you use your normal laptop equipment with the normal microphone, maybe a headset and the camera of the laptop. There are some people, 1/3, I mean, that's already quite some people, who use software like or Manicam. And then, wow, that's good. Hardware and software, 21%, great. I'm not sure if I can tell you anything new. Let's see. Okay, so this is an impressive result. I wouldn't have thought that. Normally, the no is way more people. But of course, we are in a community of professionals, and we do it for a living, so it also comes not as a surprise, I would say. Then, how tech-savvy do you rate yourself? Oh, there are lots of thinkers here. However, there's still a slight majority that says, well, a little bit, but not at all. It's really, really small. This is very different in other communities. So that makes me happy, because then probably what I will tell you today will really resonate with you, because I can already, in terms of expectation management, warn you a little bit. What I'm showing you is really a very advanced version on how you could create a tech environment for yourself if your life depends on it in terms of your living. Not your life, but your living, your income. Not at all is only 4%, especially for the people who say you are not at all tech savvy. It's interesting to still watch what I will show you now in the next minutes to come. However, then probably it's not something you will be able to set up yourself. You will definitely need help for that, just in terms of expectation management. Okay, so what would you wish to learn in this session? How to excite participants? Yes, of course. Interesting, innovative ways to engage folks, keep folks engaged. Yes. How to be a kick-ass presenter? Yeah, well, technology can help only a little bit in that. Then we also need other skills for that, of course. But technology can help, of course. How I do this in the big screen, all the interaction. Yes, some saw yesterday already how I use the equipment here. Some great tips to run a compelling Zoom meeting. Very good. Okay, another thing that I need to do in terms of expectation management. In the last days, you have exchanged all these really great tips and tricks on how to keep your audience or your workshop teams engaged on Mural, on Miro, or any other whiteboard software that you use, or other collaboration software. I will not talk about that. I will only talk about you being the presenter, you being the moderator or the facilitator, and how you can, well, put yourself on stage in the best way possible. A new tool for presenting data. Yes, 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 very good. Let's see what was down here. How to be a weatherman. Deliver facilitation within confines of a company. Yes, very good. Young and thin. I'm not sure if I can answer that. I haven't cracked that one. I should work on that as well. That's good. Very good. Okay, cool. How to not do PowerPoint and Zoom calls. Okay, very good. Thank you for all that. That's really interesting also for us to know. Great. So let's start. Let's start. And for that, I have to go back here and here. Okay. Corona hit us really, really hard. When in the beginning of this year, the whole lockdown started, and also it was not clear how it would impact the economy, many of the clients we work with totally stopped every project and every programs that we had. For example, we had entrepreneurship and digitalization programs in the making, and they all were postponed to autumn suddenly. They wouldn't stop them fully, but they would postpone them. And one reason was they could not believe that it would be possible to create a digital learning experience and environment for teams that can be engaging and that would work. Because first of all, they didn't trust their own people, which is unfortunately very common in many big corporates especially, that they would be able to handle, let's say, Office 365, the Teams in that case. And they needed first some trainings in Teams. And many organizations we work with even introduced that just half a year before Corona started. So that was good coincidence. And yes, so we had to somehow find a way to really still keep our business going, basically. But also it was a challenge for us, which we accepted, because it would be fun to also go into this direction, because we really believe that the future belongs to more blended learning and self-paced learning, and we had to level up there a little bit anyways. And For us, all the digital whiteboard and productivity tools were no problem at all. We work with them since years. We knew them, they are no problem. And as Codify, we are a remote company anyways. But our customers would have huge barriers. And we also know that it would be sometimes hard to share their screens and so on and so forth. So yeah, we really were in this weird situation. And then we had to prove them in a way that this can be engaging. And so we made first test calls with them and showed them what's possible, especially the decision makers, so that they said, okay, then we do it in digital. And especially for that, we heavily thought about, okay, how can we make a virtual learning experience as engaging, merely engaging as a real life experience. And so the first thing that we did was we created or collected the jobs to be done that this, whatever solution we would choose, would have to fulfill, that we always perform in real life learning experiences. And one job to be done, for example, was to keep the attention of people by being present in front of slides and, more importantly, in front of posters. You see typical workshop situations where we are in and we always have these posters, we scribble on the walls, things like that. How can you transfer that to virtual? That was the first question. So we had no answer yet. Then we wanted to be able to develop content on a whiteboard whilst being present with body and face, regardless of the software we use, because some clients use Zoom, others use Teams, others use GoToMeeting. It's so diverse and it needed to be cross-platform compatible, so to speak. Then there was another job to be done. That's what we do, what we really like to do. We quickly sketch something out on a flip chart, of course. Or we quickly sketch something with real pen and paper on a big sheet and then hold it up. How could we use that situation? How could we sketch something so that people can follow us? Then we also present with 2 facilitators in front of an audience simultaneously. So here another person next to me. That was also something. How do we do that with the microphones? Then we also show videos. And we play music during breaks, of course. So these are the things that we really had to get going. So being equipped with such a list, we knew whatever solution we will find, it has to meet these requirements. And so we first tried to go with software. I thought, well, I have a powerful Mac. I have a Mac Mini. It's a big one with lots of memory and so on and so forth and a fast CPU. Let's go the software route. And before I tell you about the software route, I first need to introduce 2 terms so that you understand what I'm talking about in the following. I knew that whatever the solution is, I need one very critical functionality, and this is the one of green screening, so that you can cut yourself out, as I'm right now, from the camera that films you. And whenever I talk about green screen or so-called chroma key, I mean exactly this. I can put a background behind me and I'm in front of it. You know that from Zoom. It also works with whatever backgrounds in the back in your back. However, it's more crisp and more sharp and more clean if you have a green screen or blue screen behind yourself. And then there's another concept you need to know about, and this is the so-called luma key. A luma key is if I put on top of that an additional layer where I key out the color black, for example. And this is what you can see here. Yeah, this is, let's say, a slide that I put on top of me, and now you see in the layer behind me is the background of Berlin. Then I'm on top of it, I'm keyed out, and in front of it there's some additional information. So chroma key and luma key. Just remember these terms for the following. So I thought, let's try that with software. And there is existing software. We are on a Mac system. For Windows, the same software exists and also similar tools. I thought, okay, let's try both Manicam and they are the best ones out there right now. However, I realized quickly when we tested them with our laptops, because we also thought, well, let's be mobile and still run amazing virtual facilitation. We realized that especially the chroma keying is extremely CPU and GPU intensive. GPU is the graphics card. And on a Mac, the fan is spinning all the time. And it not only makes the system slow, it's also that noisy that the microphone picks it up and the participants can hear it. Also, we realized that unfortunately with the software, the chroma keying quality is still low, even if you use a green screen. Also, another problem was, oftentimes you want to share the music, let's say in the breaks or in a video that you want to play, but rerouting sound to the participants in whatever software you use is often complex and needs additional drivers and so on and so forth. And the more drivers you have on your system, the more prone the system becomes to errors. And that's what was the worst thing for me was that virtual webcams might suddenly get sandboxed with a new operating system that Apple, for example, rolls out. That happened with Zoom and Manycam during the pandemic in spring. I wanted to run a workshop, and then suddenly Manycam did not work anymore, the solution that I've chosen, the software solution. And because it was Zoom themselves, because Zoom for some reason forbid these virtual webcams and blocked them, and it took, let's say, a month before the pressure from the community was so high that they somehow found a solution to allow virtual webcams again. And what we also experience is the virtual webcams can crash sometimes in the background. So that was not for me. The software route was not the way to go. However, I want to say that for anyone who's not very tech savvy or who does not want to spend too much time on creating a hardware setup, it's perfectly well. You might have to live with these hiccups and your fan might spin, but still the software route is so good. And my hunch is that in the next, let's say, 2 years or so, the software will be so good that it can replace the hardware that I will show you now, especially now with the new M1 chips, the system on the chips from Apple that can handle also the load that such a software creates way better. But back to our problem. Software was not for us. And so I thought, okay, where can I get inspiration from on how to create a setup that actually works, and who are the people who know how to do all this magic with maybe something else. And so I turned for inspiration to gamers and streamers, of course, because they are the extreme users. But also there I realized quickly they also use software, and they don't have to care about the restrictions of the software because their computers are so fast, because they have gaming computers, that OBS or Streamlabs, whatever they use, can handle everything, and they still have enough resources to run their game. That was not for us, not for our normal, office working Mac machines. Macs are, by the way, very, very bad computers for streaming for several technical reasons. Don't want to go into detail. And then I thought, okay, I have to reframe actually my question here. So my big question suddenly became, how might we reduce the load on our Mac computers, when being the Weatherman, as I am right now, in a way that it has enough reserves left for Zoom, Teams, Miro, Prezi, and all the other special tools that we have open when we do our workshops. And the design principles for the solution were totally clear. I didn't want to have an additional software stack like OBS or any other software, as the gamers do. I wanted a setup which can easily be replicated with my business partners, but also with coaches from our network that we work together with our clients. And I also had the feeling I don't want to install, also because I thought about everyone I'm working with, additional software like that, as for example TV hosts use. I just wanted to use the tools that we use already, and this is Keynote, PowerPoint, whiteboard software, and such things. And in my desperation, I turned for help to the biggest educational institution in the world. You probably guess what that is. I can't see the chat, but you can put into the chat. It's YouTube. And in YouTube, there I found other extreme users, and 2 were really helpful and have really, really inspiring videos. The one guy is Aaron Pericki. You will receive these slides afterwards, so you can check out his channel, all his videos, if you're interested in that. And the other one is Photo Joseph, or Joseph Linaschke, aka Photo Joseph. Aaron is a developer with a passion for camera and video production, and Photo Joseph is a photographer, filmmaker, YouTuber, educator, and so on and so forth. And they talked about a magic device which is called the Blackmagic Atom Mini. Full disclosure, I'm not affiliated with any one of them, so I get no money for doing advertising here. And the founder, Grant Patty, is a really, really cool guy. I watched some videos of him, and he is a picture book disruptor. So especially for us as innovators, and his whole company is a whole case study for us. And I was not aware of that. He's disrupting the whole TV tech equipment business. And as he was such an extremely likable entrepreneur who basically democratizes filmmaking, I was totally convinced. I said, okay, shut up, take my money. This is the route I will go. And this is why, that was my tweet on that, and this is why I went the hardware route. And the hardware route now looks like this. This is the setup. I have this so-called switcher, the Atom Mini, which basically serves as a webcam. So you can imagine I plug it into my computer via USB, and then the computer thinks it's a webcam. And this is why it works with every other, or with every, it's video call tool agnostic. It works with everything. That's what I wanted to say. That's the first thing. That's really good. Into the Blackmagic switcher, you can plug 2 microphones. And that's really good if you want to present as 2 persons, because you have these variable microphones, which are wireless. And if 2 persons talk, they don't need 1 microphone, because if you move, the sound might get lower or higher. And so everyone has his microphone at his place all the time, and we can be there in front of the camera together. That's this thing. Then I told you I wanted to sketch things quickly out. For that I have, here I have to show, the Ziggy document cam. With that I can sketch out things, I'll show you in a sec. Then I have a tablet attached to it, the front cam that you're seeing me right now, a control monitor and a computer monitor. This is the setup. And now let me show you how that works. First of all, I said that I wanted to keep attention of people while being present in front of slides. Well, I'm living proof to that now. Here I can show slides, talk about that, and so on and so forth. That's the easy part. But it's also pretty amazing if you use, for example, poster discussions, which are not linear, but where I zoom in and out. And you can do these things with Miro or with Crazy. I just have a little stop motion video here that gives you an impression how that looks like. Bam. So this is pretty amazing. So check, job to be done, solved. I also use it sometimes. And Virginia, I thank you for that. I hope you are in here, because this GIF I got from you. If people in, let's say, the interactive parts of our workshops are a little bit hesitant, you probably know the situation. All cameras off, no one talks, and then you ask for a volunteer, and it's so hard to be voluntold, this is a term that I learned from Christy. Well, what do you do then? And then I do these little fun images in the background so that people, well, are a little bit ashamed, and then someone says, okay, I do it in the chat, and then, well, we can move on, because otherwise you lose that much time in these online environments. So check, this is done. But then there's this other thing. I want to develop content on a whiteboard whilst being present with body and face, let's say with Merle or Miro. And I will show you now how one can do that actually with Miro even on top of me, which is pretty amazing. What I do for that is, I now switch to my iPad. And here on my iPad, I now, one sec, where's my, here. On my iPad, I now pull out, oh, I'm not there. Just one sec, I need to be there as well. Why am I not there? Yeah, now I'm there. Now I can write something here. Okay. And I can also move it around here. You see? And I can even move it in front of myself. And this is Miro. That means if someone else would join this board now, let's say my sidekick Elias, he could put post-its in front of me while I'm talking here. And I could say, oh, I have to show here, oh, that's a good idea, really cool, yeah, things like that. So that works. It's really amazing. You see, and I can also zoom in and I can zoom out. Yeah. And this is what I do with my iPad here, but I could also do it with a computer or any other device. Another thing that I can do, and which comes in really useful, is, and I show that right now because I see if in terms of the choreography I did something wrong, but it's not a problem. I can sketch something quickly here on this cam. I just told you that's something that is needed. Let's say one of the participants said, I forgot all these risk dimensions you told me about in innovation. What was it again? Ah yeah, then I quickly draw it again. Desirability, viability, feasibility, and whatever else. So this also comes in really, really handy. And this is the Ziggy cam that I use here. And then there's another thing what I can do, and for that I have to switch over to another computer. Okay. What I can also do is to put something on top of myself. And this is how that looks. The computers always need a little bit of time. In a real workshop, of course, this is all more choreographed. Right now I'm doing these things here. I have to prepare the steps in between. What I do now is I have another computer plugged in, and in this computer I run Keynote. You could also run PowerPoint. And this is now the Luma key. That means it's a black Keynote presentation, and on the black presentation there are things. For example, I have to introduce myself and say who I am. And so I can have this little band here like they have in TV, which is pretty cool. Or I could have, let's say, funny little characters that we've created. We call them the innovation villagers. Yep. And you see here, they had a black outline. This is why the outline is cut out. It's just for demonstration. So you would have to color them a little bit so that it's not a clear black. But I can also have more useful things here on top of me. For example, a QR code for subscribing to a newsletter or something like this. Or fun stuff, of course. Yep. So this is another scenario. And I would say, check, one can do that. Quickly sketching something out on a flip chart. Actually, I showed you as well. I also showed you quickly sketching something with pen and paper. Presenting with two facilitators in front of the audience, I cannot show you today. So let's skip that. But I can show you this, showing a video and playing a video. Because what also happens often is, if we do a screen share in the normal tools that we use, then it either skips frames and the video is played very choppy, or you can't even transfer your sound to the participants. That really depends on the operating system you run with. And that's something that also annoyed us with the normal tools and the normal screen share. And so we can work around that. And it looks like this. Just one sec. Maybe I get rid of this window here. Okay. What I did now is I transfer my sound to you, and the video should play. Oh, stop. Okay, that was it, just for the proof. And how that works is, all I have to do is, in my system setting, one can also do a macro with it, say it needs to go there. That's all you have to do. Okay. And then, also this. Maybe I want to play music in place. So that's a good thing to have. Time's up. Okay, can I click? Now I can click. But now comes the last scenario. The last scenario that was also important to us. I would like to have a fireside chat of two people simultaneously so that, yeah, well, I can invite a guest speaker, so to speak, to the program, if you will. And in order to do that, I have to switch again to that. Oh, sorry, no, that's not working. Okay, and in order to do that, I can do the following. I can create such a split screen here, put behind the split screen my external laptop, and what I will do now is I will create a Zoom call with Elias and put Elias' Zoom into this window. And let's do that quickly. One sec. Okay, Elias. You will receive my invite right now. Or maybe I have to let him in, admit. There we go. Hello, Elias.
Hey, Jan. Moin, moin. So what did you plan to have for dinner this night? I know you are already in your office for a couple of hours. What are your dinner plans?
I'm eating cookies because my dinner will only be after we finished this very important work here.
Okay.
At this great gathering of people.
Cool. Hope you have some good ones.
I hope I have definitely good ones. More details on that later because I see my clock is running and I want to give people the chance to ask questions. Proof of concept. Thank you, Elias, for that. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay, so this is also the scenario that we can use. The fireside chat of two people. So check to everything. It works. Now the question is, how does that look like here in front of me? And I want to show you this because this is probably the most important question. And how can I do all these shortcuts where I change the scenes that quickly here in front of me? And I will show you that by using another magic. Just one sec. I'm opening up now my iPhone, and there I start an app that's called Webcam. Webcam gives me an IP address. And this IP address I will now put into a browser, into a normal browser. Can be any browser that I want to. And now I have it in the browser. And what now happens is, just one sec. Okay, that shall be enough. What now happens is that you can see everything transferred, and I have to put it that way, what I have here in front of me. So this is my normal screen here in front of me, where my presentation is, that I used just right now, that I put into my background. This is my camera here. It's a normal HDMI camera, which is plugged into this ATEM, which does all the magic. Then I have my Ziggy cam here. I switched it off. This is the document camera that I told you about. Then I have another laptop plugged in. This is what I used for the Zoom call now with Elias. And here's the iPad. Yep. And behind me there's of course the green screen. And there are some lights because I need the lights. It's dark here in Germany now. And the biggest magic is done by this little device. It's called a Stream Deck. And this is where I got the inspiration from the gamers. The gamers use Stream Decks. And here you can see, for example, this button. I want to be in the corner, click. Now I'm in the corner. Now I want to be big, click. Now I'm big. Now I just want to have the screen, click. Now you just see the screen. This is what the gamers use all the time. And you can control all kinds of software with that. I can also control Zoom, for example, here with it. I can open the chat, I can mute myself, I can change the camera with it. I could use it with Teams, of course. And I can do all kinds of other tricks with that. Also Spotify can be, of course, controlled with that, However, there needs to be I would say, a clue or an interface between the software that controls the atom and the software here. And I will show you how this works out and how this looks like. Just one sec, I close this window here. Okay, we can also leave this window. Great. Then let's go back to the presentation. So, and this is the software setup. The Stream Deck, what I just shown you, this additional keyboard with the LEDs, is controlled with a software called Elgato Stream Deck. Maybe I make myself bigger again. Here. And this needs to communicate with the software for the atom. And this is something where I have to say, this is not very intuitive. These switchers, they cost lots of money years ago, and only now they have become, or in recent years, they have become that affordable. It's crazy what they can do. Back in the days, that was only available for really big TV production studios. But the problem is that they come with a heritage. They come with the heritage of the logic of these TV people, of these and these TV technicians. And so it's a little bit counterintuitive on how to work with them. And I hope that consumer versions will come out in the future. But for now, you will have to program them a little bit with so-called macros. And I had help for that, fortunately. A lovely Russian lady that I know to my brother, she is very interested because her mother is also teaching at University of St. Petersburg, and she's very interested in these kinds of things, and she watched all these Russian YouTube movies of people explaining how the atom works and created all the macros for me, because I wouldn't have had the time for that. So there are the macros that say, Jan, be small, be big, Jan, only show the screen. You program them in the atom. And then you have to put these macros on the keys here, on the Stream Deck. And in order to do so, you need a software that connects both. And that took us a while to figure that out, but now we found it out. It's called Bit Focus Companion. So if you plan to do such a thing, don't search too long. I promise you don't have to spend a month as I did. Use the Bit Focus Companion that connects the two. And if you are really nerdy, you can also use Keyboard Maestro. If you're on a Mac, on a PC, there are similar software available, which can run system macros beyond just AppleScript. But this is really nerdy stuff. You don't need that at all, that it all works. And then there's another thing that I need here in my environment, and this is really important. And this is so-called noise cancelling software in the background. Because I'm here in Berlin, and I'm in the middle of a very, up-and-coming city quarter, Kreuzberg-Neukölln, but it's very loud. Lots of police sirens and other emergency cars. So I have a little AI running in the background, which removes all background sounds. So this is basically the setup. And for documentation purposes, I don't read that. You can get all these things, or here are all the software tools that I use in addition to the hardware. And that's basically it. This is the setup. This is how you can become the Weatherman. And I want to say thank you, especially of course, to Anastasia, who helped me with all the macros, but also to cool people like Aaron Perique or Joseph Linaschke for sharing their knowledge with the world on YouTube, and also the open source people at the BitFocus Companion crew, which have created an amazing piece of software. Well, if they wouldn't have done that, I couldn't stand here, literally, and show you how to become the Weatherman. And I would say these times are annoying, but they are exciting too. And I'm happy to answer your questions now. I saw that some were already coming in. And now I can go to the chat again, because before that I couldn't. That's also one of the downsides. If I'm presenting here, I can't look at the chat simultaneously. Okay. So, Elias, can you join me again as co-moderator? Because you have the questions more in. Thank you.
Yeah,
you had the questions. You followed them more.
Yeah, right. There was actually the question, how did you
just one
do
sec.
all the...
I can't hear you, Elias. How come?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now. Good.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there was the question, how did you have done yesterday the magic with the pointer?
Oh, that's very easy. This is just this normal Logitech pointer, which is pretty amazing also for normal presentations in real life settings. Maybe I can show that to you, one sec. It needs to be, yeah, here. Do you see that, the spot?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes, you can do that on the screen everywhere in normal presentations. It's normal off-the-shelf wear. No. Logitech Spotlight Presenter, I think is the name.
Cool. Put it on the list.
Yes,
think
I will do.
Definitely interesting for many more people. And then there's the question, what was your learning curve to get so competent in being the weatherman?
Good question. It was out of necessity, wasn't it? We had to react quickly, and we had all kinds of reasons. They were, of course, money was one reason, but they were not primarily financial, because honestly, we used the time wisely. The break that we had when everything slowed down to work on internal matters again in life. That was very welcome in a way, but if the programs would have been postponed, it would have collided with other programs that were planned, and so on and so forth. So we had to somehow show our network, hey guys, there is a way to make that engaging, and we can even present and work with posters. So let's do that. So that's all I can say. And I of course I had fun. I mean, I have to say I have a history of not that much, but a little bit of gaming. And in a way, I was always a little bit jealous when I look at gamers these days. It has become esports. It's really big. It's an industry. And I was always fascinated by that. And I wish I could have made a whole research project out of that and interviewed gamers, but I had not the time. So I just did desk research and YouTube. But that was maybe also, the learning curve was probably also pretty quick because I was passionate about it in a way. Yeah. And by the way, I mean, thanks again to Aaron Pericki and Photo Joseph. They are the ones who taught us all these things. Yeah.
So Jan, next question was, so if people do not really want to start with everything, with all the possibilities that you just showed us, so what would be your recommendation? So how to start small?
Oh, yeah, Elias, we had that yesterday, didn't we? Or the day before yesterday.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The best thing is to start with a green screen, of course. No. The first thing, sorry, I take everything back. Start with a microphone, a proper good microphone. Everyone from movie production will tell you that sound is the most important thing. Image can be choppy, can have artifacts and pixelated, but the sound needs to be good. So this is the first thing. Then, after that, I would say a camera is a good investment and a green screen. Even without light, you will get pretty okay outcomes. But of course, then comes the light right after that. And depending on your ambitions, you can use a ring light. Especially if you have no glasses, then that's totally okay. It always gets problematic if you wear glasses, because the lights reflect. You can even see that my monitor now is reflecting when I'm talking to you in my classes. So that's something that's really hard to get out of the video. And I think that's it. And if you buy a camera and you want to be future-proof, then I would really recommend buying a camera that has both a so-called, and I write it into a chat, clean HDMI. Clean HDMI out. So if the camera has both a clean HDMI out and a USB port, then you can use these cameras, for example, as a normal USB device, because even also the camera producers now create software pieces that connect with these video tools. So you can use it as a USB cam, Or when you later buy your ATEM and say, now I level up, then you can use the HDMI out because the camera does need HDMI. But it needs to be clean, and clean means that there's not a date inserted there, or maybe the number of pictures or the shooting mode or something like this. Especially old cameras have that. And I think that's the minimal setup. I'm using a Canon M200 here. It's not the best one. Elias is way better, and I'm jealous of his all the time. But I bought that one now, and it's okay. I have struggled with the light as well. You saw that sometimes it was a little bit flickering, and it has to do with both the light and the camera. You can have not good light and a really good camera, then you get the same outcome as if you have lots of light and a not so good camera. There are many variables. Yeah.
Another question, Jan, was, so if you are starting those, if you recommend a partner for tech setup?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if I would have known someone whom I could have called, hey, please set me up such a thing for facilitation, probably I would have done that, because sometimes your time is more worth than, than the money you would spend on someone. The problem is, how to say, I mean, we're in an office here with movie production people, art house. And I asked them, guys, can you recommend someone? And they said, Jan, what you want to do, this is not what we usually do. I'm not sure if a video production company could help you there. And so in the end, we figured it out ourselves. And as I told you already, I had this one help from Anastasia. What is she? I think she studied something with environmental technologies, looking with satellites on the surface of the Earth, things like that. So she has nothing to do with video production. It was just her interest, and so we educated ourselves by YouTube, honestly. Yeah. So I don't know any professional service provider. Anastasia might be a gun for hire for that, but yeah.
So Jan, as this is such a creative crowd here, they were already thinking about new kinds of businesses out of those, and so I think you could pair up here with a couple of them and see what kind of new service comes out.
Yeah, we talk about that as well quite a lot, but for us it was just a means to an end. The thing is, people ask us more about these things now than our normal services, innovation services that we do, and well, that's a thing. Yeah, we don't plan to venture into this field. At least we haven't talked about that yet. Yeah.
And then in the chat came the question: so if this is all for Mac, or is this also for PC working?
It's working for PC as well. So what I've shown you is works on all platforms. I'm not sure about Linux, but on a PC definitely it works. The ATEM works on both. Yes, and everything what I use PowerPoint for, Keynote now for, you can also use PowerPoint for. Yep. A lot of this is Mac specific also. Lyle said, what's best software to have with PCs? Many of the software tools that are in the list that I will send out later to you have a PC counterpart. So if you Google this and say, let's say, Manicam for PC, then you will find it. That's the one thing, and there are some of these softwares who run on both systems. So that should be no problem. Yeah. Someone also asked, what was the Twitch stream all about? Sanya asked that. Well, I just did that, first of all, because I can, because this is a test run here. Because we run something in the background, I will have to show you that. That's maybe also very interesting. Just one sec. For that I have to prepare something, because I can't show you our streaming key. That's secret. I don't want this to be in the open. So I'm putting something here on top of the streaming key, a window. Okay, so. And there we go. Okay, this is the ATEM software control, and what you can see here now is that, and I show you this, one sec. I use another app for that, which you will like, which is also on the list. It's called Presentify, which highlights my cursor, so you can see where I am. Here I'm in my live stream now. I'm on air, and I use a service which is called restream.io. And this is really magic, the whole thing. I will show you why. What it does is the following. It streams simultaneously, while I'm talking to you now, to Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. I mean, I'm pretty new to the streaming business, so we don't have anyone watching there. But hey, we can, and we tried it. So this is really cool, and this is also another thing where the ATEM plays out its strengths, because what it does is, it's not only the USB webcam, which is now active, that you can see me here and hop in. It's also a device that can stream out so-called RTMP protocol streams to anywhere, which means I can, well, be now at many places at the same time, yeah, which is also pretty amazing. And that was the Twitch about. It's also sometimes, maybe I should mention that as well. Sometimes in Zoom especially, Zoom is totally overwhelmed with all the traffic it gets these days. That means that the quality of the video is often very bad. And especially if I want to show a poster presentation, which I showed yesterday in the innovation system design session, you can't read anything from the text. And what I say then, from the copy text on the slides, and what I then say to people is, okay, now switch yourself on mute here, and we move over to Twitch, and I'm doing the presentation there. And then after the presentation, we go back to Teams or to Zoom, and then we discuss further there. Yeah, this is our little trick.
Jan, there's another question, and it also refers to the audio setup. You were highlighting before that you have to transfer the sound to the audience.
Yes.
What did you meant by those, and what is it that you have done?
Yes, that's a really good question, because I struggled with that quite a lot. I'm sharing you my external computer now that I have here, the laptop. Just one sec. For that, I need to do some preparation. I need to change the screen. I mirror the built-in display now so that you can see everything.
The question was also, what's the difference between just share your computer sound? Because
that's the thing. That's what I said. It is not the same. Unfortunately, for example, in Teams, there are certain people on certain operating systems who cannot share their computer sound. Or sometimes they don't have the rights. Sometimes we as facilitators are invited to the very restricted IT environment of the organizations we work with. And then we suddenly can't do any or certain activities like sharing sound. And that annoyed me that much that I needed to find a solution so that I can always be flexible. We always had these hiccups. And now I show you how I do that these days. Just one sec. Maybe I show you this first, because you will like that. This is my desktop on my other computer. And I have a little tool called here, which is hide my desktop. Now I say hide desktop icons, so that you believe I'm a tidy person. Anyways, now when you ask how I share the sound, I just go here. You can have the sound or the output source for your sound in your Mac, and in the PC there's a different function, a similar functionality. And then you can say what's the output device, and I can put it to my internal speakers or to the headphones. But I've chosen Blackmagic Design HDMI, and that's the switcher. This is just the whole trick for getting sound to you. However, what then happens is you cannot hear the sound anymore, which is why I sometimes use these little control headphones here that I have put into the ATEM so that I can hear the sound that is there. That's the only thing that's a little bit inconvenient. But you don't have that very often, that you have to channel sound to the participants. Maybe just if you play music in the breaks, just if you play a video. And that's basically it. maybe if you show a demo or something like this, then you would also channel the sound to them. Yeah. I hope that answered the question. Okay, it seems sometimes the moderation panel kicks people out. Elias, you are back, and Ophelia, you also wanted to come to the panel. I clicked, and I hope you can enter. I don't know. Elias, you probably, no, you're on mute again. Always, if you enter the panel, you're on mute. Yeah. Okay, so Elias will figure out how to share the sound again, and then I check some of the questions. What was the name of the app to allow your phone to stream video from a URL? Jenny, this will be in the presentation that I sent to you, so you can read it there. Yep, but I can, of course, I can also say it quickly. The name was just Webcam. Webcam. And it has this yellow icon here. You can find it in the App Store. Yep. What else? What else were there? Lots of Mac-specific. Yes, cool GIF. What was the Twitch stream all about? We talked about that. Yep. When you're starting, we had that. Okay. Well, I would say I can't see any other questions. My partner would kill me if I turned our den into a green screen studio, but I want one. Chris, this is something I really struggle with that as well, because I tried to have this office as clean as possible, but now I have this YouTube streaming studio here, and all in a sudden. And this won't change, and it won't go away that quickly. Of course, I have this big monitor behind me that I've just shown you, the big control monitor. You can also use small ones. Here I can show you one for other purposes. I have these ones. These are portable ones. We're also with an HDMI, and then you just put them next to your computer. So there I can try to make it as minimal as possible, but especially the lights with the diffusers, and you will need diffusers. That's the thing. And the whole setup, maybe this might be my last words if there come no new questions. The whole setup in terms of money, because that's also what people always ask, will be between 2,000 to 3,000 euros. This is what you will have to invest for it. Yeah, which is quite some money, definitely. But not if you depend on them, if this is your whole professional life. I mean, then it's actually, you don't have to think about that. Yep. Yes, at Wesley I will show the second software that I shared, and Manicam, of course, will be in the slide deck, so you can check that out. Okay, great. Thanks for joining this session. Thanks for being here. I hope I see you too next year, if there's the ILN with a fancy setup and a fancy studio, and we can have fun together and have these side-by-side fire chats and things like that. You give me a ping if you want to do that. And well, enjoy your day. And for those of you in Europe or in other parts of the world, your evening or whatever time it is right now. Thanks.